Hello and welcome to this wonderful Take the Fear at the Gear episode with me, Mr. Chumley Warner.
And moi, Jason Bangoise.
And if you can see a little bit of this lovely valve oscillator on the table here.
Suit you, sir.
But the sad thing is, it doesn't work, does it?
It's knackered.
Yes, nothing happens. It just does strange things. So what are we going to do?
Well, hopefully, we're going to send it to Alan the Great. The greatest man alive. He is the only man, the greatest man, who can fix something like this because he has a plan.
Because he's the valve king.
He's the valve man.
The valve man.
So here's the plan, guys. If Alan can fix this thing, which you're about to find out, we know, because we've seen it obviously, because we're making the damn video, but if he fixes it, next week we'll make some music with it. And maybe
we'll bring a couple more along because we need a few knobs to twiddle, as they say.
Or we can multi-track just this one.
Yeah.
So we'll show you the whole procedure. So next week, if this is working, tune in and have a look. So from us here at Take the Fear Out of Gear, we'll say goodbye now. We're going to go on. You introduce him, Simon. He's your brother-in-law after all.
Pass you over to Alan the Great.
All yours, Alan. Take it away.
We've got an Advance J2 oscillator here, and obviously it doesn't work. One of our Radio Rally acquisitions, and so the first thing to do, obviously being so old as what it is, we're going to replace all the capacitors. Well, in fact, I've already started to replace, to save time, I've already started to replace the capacitors. Okay, so what I've done so far, I've replaced that capacitor, that one, that one, that one, that one. These two are mica, so they don't need to be replaced. These are all pretty good. I've still got a couple of little Hunts ones to do, which, as you can see, they're completely cracked. I've got to do those, but they're straightforward. I won't bother showing you to do those because it's just a straightforward replacement. But what we're going to do now, as I say, we're going to restuff this one. I'll show you how to restuff this one. Right, now the first thing we've got to do is we've got to get this lip off of here, so we can get this off, and get the contacts, because we need this piece again. Obviously, we don't want to damage this, so the capacitor goes in the chuck in the lathe. Very gently do it up because we don't want to crush it. We don't want to mark it. Okay, make sure that's all okay. Now what we do is we've got to bring that up, and then we've just got to take off very gently. We've got to take off this lip. I'll start this up. I'll start this. Okay, that should do it. Get this out there. As you can see, what I've done is I've just taken off the lip. Okay, so I've taken the lip off on the lathe, and you can see this one started to leak around the outside anyway. We've got to get this piece out because we need this piece again. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just take it through, and I'm going to put a hot air gun on it, and hopefully it's going to blow it out. We'll see anyway. That's what I did with the last one, and it worked, but if it doesn't, I can just give it a bit of a gentle persuasion with the pliers. Not popping out, is it? Oh well, what we're going to have to do, give it a bit of gentle persuasion. I'll put that on there, hold that. I can just pop that like that. Come on, there we go. Right, so that's what we're left with. We're left with our little button at the top with the two tags on, and our empty can, which I've cleaned all this, just basically cleaned it out. Don't have to be too fussy with it because it's not doing anything anymore, so apart from having the new caps. Right, so what we do is get our new caps. In this case it's a 33 and a 15, and what we need to do is we need to get the two negatives of the caps, put them back there, and then they needed to be twisted together, and these two need, the two positives need to be just left as they are for the moment anyway. Okay, this one I've got I've done earlier, as in Blue Peter. As you can see, this is what I've done. I've just twisted those together, soldered them together, and these are the two positives. Now what we do with the negative, to make sure it's about in the middle of the other one, because one's bigger than the other unfortunately, just bend them up like that. So it's bent up like that. So that one, because of this, has got a tag on the other end. What I've got to do is I've got to extend that lead, and that's got to come and it's got to be fixed to this tag at the top. Whereas these two will actually be fixed to these two tags here. And how I do that, get a very tiny drill in my drill. As you can see, it's extremely tiny. It's probably about, it could be a millimetre. I think it's a millimetre. And as close as you can to get to there, to get to the tag, which is there. So I'm going to try and hold that and show you how I'm going to try and do this without actually breaking the drill. But it's okay, I've got loads more. So that has to go as close as you can to that and drill through the can. Okay, there's a little tiny hole in there now, and it's as close as possible to that tag. And the wire will actually go through there, and then it will wrap around that tag. Same with this. We've got two tags here. We've got a yellow and a red. It's outer and inner, I think that's what they call them. And what we've got to do is, we've got to do the same with this. Now, put it in the middle of the, as close as you can to the tag. You can see where I've got it there. And just gently go through. Take your time because you're going to break the drill otherwise, but it's very, very delicate. And it's through, and there's a hole there, you see? And we're going to do the same for the other side, which is this one here. That goes through there. We've got two little holes in. I think it's too small to see actually at the moment. Okay, so I've extended that with a piece of solid cord wire, and it's a bit longer than what I need. It makes it easier to thread through the hole first. But what we want to do first is we've got our button with our two tags on. As I say, we've got an outer and an inner. Now the inner is the bigger capacitor, so consequently what we do is we thread that through that hole I drilled. Through there, then I thread the other one through that hole there. Oh, by the way, I've just put a couple of bits of sleeving on there, which I actually got from the wire. It fits quite nicely, and that will just go in there, and that will just stop that from any short circuits inside. It's unlikely, but it's just something that makes me feel a bit better. So we can do that. As you can see, the wire actually comes up right beside the tag. And what we can do now is just pull it out, put a bend in it, shove it through the hole. Same with this one. Oops, missed the hole then. Right, okay. Let's give it a pull. Pull it up that way so that it's tight against the bottom, and just give it a twist round like that. Same with this one. Okay, just snip the excess off. I'll just leave myself enough of the hole so that you can get the other components in. I'll keep it to one side. That'll do. Just twist it round to make good mechanical. Like that. Okay, so that's what we've got now. Now the other end, get a case, and that slips through the case, through the hole in the end. You can get it through there, it will go through. There it goes, it comes through the end. Now before we push that on, see that's going to fit in there quite nicely, just put a bit of glue around it. Put a little glue around that edge, that inner edge. I've got some general purpose adhesive, Stick It, Wilco. It's not an advertisement for them, but just put a little drop around the edge. Okay. Before it falls out again, I'm going to push that in. Now, push it home. Give that a pull. It's not going to fall out because it's fixed here. And that'll go through the hole there. Okay. Again, keeping it to one side so that you can actually get the ground wire on that tag there. Bring it round, snip it off. There we are. That's it. I don't solder these until I'm ready to put them in and solder the rest of the wires in. But that's how you stuff a capacitor. That's how I do it. Last time I showed you how to restuff those capacitors. Mainly it was just for an exercise on this thing. And as you say, I've got them in now. I've actually wired them in to save a bit of time. You don't want to see me, you know, boring bits or wiring them all in. I've wired them in. I've got to put the clips back on again. And once I do to hold them in, and that makes it a lot. Well, it makes my life a bit easier anyway. I was going to put a tag strip and just put the new capacitors on a tag strip, but I thought no, I'll try it like this and see how it goes. It hasn't worked out too badly. As I say, I'll put the two clips. I've got them in here somewhere. There's two clips in there. I'll put them back, and I think we'll be ready to roll. I think we'll try it and see how it goes. I don't see anything else. We replaced all the caps on it, and one or two of the resistors were out of tolerance, so I've replaced that. We'll see if it works. Right, okay, so put the clips on the caps, put the screening box back on the RF bit, and we'll switch this on and then see what happens. I'll switch it on. I'm just going to gradually run it up on my Variac. I'm up to 120 volts. No sign of life yet. The valve filaments are just starting to glow. Okay, so up to 180 volts, 200 volts. And the valves are glowing. Put it right up to 240. Okay, it hasn't exploded, which is good. Right, let's see what we got. Okay, and as I turn the output control up, you're getting voltage, which is a promising sign. And I've got it hooked up on the 600 ohm output to my scope, which is up here, and yes, and there we go. We've got a sine wave. And it's all working pretty well. So yeah, so I think we can box it up now and call it a day on this one. So it seems to be working quite nicely. Yeah, your voltmeter is working. your output voltmeter for you can get your range, get your level. It's quite good. For an old thing. There's two outputs on this. There's a 5 ohm output as well. It's actually, you could actually put a 5 ohm speaker on that, and I haven't obviously got that connected because it make a bit of a row, but it's working quite well. I'm quite pleased about that. Yeah.
Cool. Oh well, Al's done it again. Thanks to Al for another good fix, and then we'll get making some music with it. So
yeah, you can make a row with that.
yeah, we can make some synth tracks.
Make some synths, put it all with all the other ones.
Yeah,
you've got.
We'll have a wall of oscillators soon.
Yeah.
Okie doke. So we'll see you next time then.